shall deceive. We have come into the night, thunder and raising war a night. We have come into the night, thunder and raising war a night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. The sound of arms, fierce morality. Nightfall, the rain, and the silence leads. We have come into the night, thunder raising war a night. We have come into the night, thunder raising war a night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Shield wall. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla.
All right, welcome everybody. This is Valhalla Esports, H2O versus Big Wheel. Tonight I am joined by Malco and Karma Warrior. How are you doing,
What's going
guys?
on, everybody? Doing well.
What's
doing
going
well.
on?
Good to be back on the cast once again.
Yep, glad.
Bro,
Man, this is going to be a big game. Can't wait to see this.
All right.
right now it's what is it? The two teams. We got the newly reconstructed Team H2O against currently, I'm guessing, the number 2 team in Big Wheel.
Yeah, it looks like from looking at it that top is relatively even. I'm excited to see how they end up playing, if they're going to play tanks or fighters. But it looks like top is relatively even, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of big name coming there for Salt as well as Avius. For jungle, we have Evebot and TJ. It looks like it's slightly in favor of Evebot, while TJ is not lacking behind in any means necessary. And then when you're looking at mid lane, it looks like mid lane's relatively even as well. And at the big spots to look for is the bot lane as well as top lane these games, from what I've looked at.
I've noticed, at least from the game I casted yesterday, it came down to how well the top sides actually work together. Generally, the bot lanes were kind of left to do their own thing. There were a couple ganks here and there when it was advantageous for them, or there was a fight in the bot side to claim an objective for themselves. But for the most part, it was primarily top, mid, and jungle that were doing a lot of the work. And I find that's something that like the meta kind of is gearing towards, where the bot lanes, you'll find that people are playing more Ezreals, Sivers to kind of be safer alongside those enchanter supports, even though we do have quite a few tank support players over here with H2O Lethal as well.
Yeah, going more about mid jungle top having this big synergy. It'll be fun to see what the mid jungle 2v2s are going to look like here. It looks like as we look more into them, I think TJ is majority on Maokai most of the time, while Evebot is more on aggressive like Echo Gragas, and then for the other side it's Sedge Zac. So it looks like there's gonna be a lot of tank versus non-tank in jungle. So it'll be really fun to see what mid lanes do to compensate for that change.
And
Don't be.
go ahead.
Oh, what's going on, Blitz?
They started the draft lol already. So if you guys are ready to jump on over there.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go. Let's go ahead and do so. They're getting right into draft and
Man,
everything. Look at went by real
Okay.
quick. Look what we missed so far.
Yeah. It was tons of stuff.
This was a Pantheon ban here.
We first picked Tarek here. I mean, it's not the worst. We probably have Donna mid here, so that's what they decided to do in the case for this more aggressive, and it looks like it'll be Lilia. So it looks like we're gonna have Lilia Tristana in the mid for the 2v2. And then let's see, it'll be Kindred and
And just to say, from what I've seen with the teams based on their stats and based on previous play, a lot of these bans are to be expected, especially from like the Akali not going to someone literally named Akali, and then with the Jace being shown that Hardway can play that Jace efficiently well, even when he's put, even though you primarily see him on other things like Brand, and I think I've also noticed the Annie being another one that's been played by him periodically. But they definitely didn't want to risk having to give him that 80 mid potential. And right now, it's looking like the rest of the picks coming out from H2O is going to be Malzahar and Malphite to round out their picks over there on the blue side.
yeah, and it looks like the 2v2 is gonna be more skewed towards this Tristana Lilia pre-6, and then after 6 it'll be more towards Malkindred. Which means that we'll probably have a pretty free dragon for Big Wheel, while the Rift Heralds will be more on the side of Kindred Malzahar if everything goes even. And it looks like we'll have the Silas counter pick for the Malphite. Very clean, very good pick this game for Silas top lane.
There's so many great ultimates that the potential for the Silas to steal, whether you want to use the utility of Kindred or Taric, or you can have the outright utility and damage of Zaya, or just straight up just go in and engage. You have just so many options. I'm very excited for the team combo Big Will right now.
Yeah. It looks very in favor of Big Wheel, but we definitely can't count out how well this comp can be if it's a very clean front to back from H2O.
Never looked back.
And again, considering the changes that have been made, I'm not sure how the synergy is going to be between the teams. What's going to really I want to see how this new H2O looks and how the new changes that they've made to their team is going to allow them to potentially come over this hurdle that is literally the second place team currently in this league.
Yeah, no doubt.
Gonna be Big Will having something else to prove too.
Yeah, as we get into game, we look like there's a good chance Big Wheel has an invade, don't you think? I think there's a pretty high chance that there's an invade, knowing that they have Tristana Silas for early game damage.
It's honestly easily securable for them. I could see that happening, but if they don't, I think what they'll end up doing is maybe setting up on the opposite side, just to maybe like in the sense of like prepping for a potential counter invade. I mean, if you have
splitting the jungle up, the verticals.
Yes.
Yeah, so when we look for a vertical, I think the best vertical we can do here is a topside vertical, because then it brings out the Silas, it brings out the Tristana, and Kindred can't really contest those areas early on into the game. So I definitely agree that the counter for topside is going to be kind of huge here.
And that's the other thing I'm kind of concerned about with H2O's comp is the volatility of how the comp works. It involves a lot of not just only like skill shots being landed, how fast the feathers get laid down by Zaya, but also like how well the Targ positions himself along with somebody else to be able to use those stuns and ultimates to proficiency. And again, just the absolute disengage that is also alongside the Janna with that Zeri in the bot side. I'm only concerned about that part of the comp is how efficiently can they actually execute their comp.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think the Kindred Terra combo makes that pretty securable in most ideas. Most of the time, you drop Kindred ult, and then you start Terra ult in Kindred ult, and then it kind of stacks on. And for the most part, it'll be cool to see what Silas does with the ults because obviously he has the same synergies as with the Kindred R as Tarek does if he takes the ultimate. So it'll be great to see.
So with that said, right now, who do you think is going to be the who do we have coming out on top in this game one?
I mean, it looks like to me it's a pretty confident decision to pick Big Wheel here. Tristana into Malzahar is a very good matchup for Tristana. Zeri Janna is going to interact with Zyateric at all in lane. And Silas is a definite counter to Malphite.
Okay, Blitz, you're still around. If you're there, you want to take a quick tidbit in before we start getting ready to get into the game.
Yeah, if you have your Prime or want to subscribe to our channel, feel free to drop a subscription. No, but this should be a very good game. I really do like that the Silas pick into the Malphite. Malphite's in a really good spot. I noticed the Salt has changed his name to Mr. Sodium Chloride. He wants some respect on his name. And yeah, this should be a really good one.
Mr. Sodium Chloride. This is going to be great.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. We will see. It's very strict that this Malzahar does not fall behind super early. If it happens, this game will spiral out of control. Tristana will go everywhere, and this game will kind of just end really fast. It's definitely in the ballpark of Tristana has to make a play early, and Malzahar has to respond pretty well, or it just ends up blowing out of proportion.
I
I
really
don't
do
know
like.
how. What's up, Blitz?
I really like seeing the hard way go back to his 80 carry roots and pull out that Tristana pick. He's been playing a lot of Brand lately. Everybody knows about his Jace and his Pantheon as well. But going back to the 80 carry roots from back in the day, pulling out the Tristana, be very interested to see this matchup.
Well, also,
My main
you
worries
go
with
first.
Malzahar, as you were mentioning, Karma, was particularly just like, can they really match like the Tristana roaming, the Tristana being put here and there, like without potentially putting themselves in consistent danger for how immobile and how basically like vulnerable a champion Malzahar technically is.
Yeah, for the most part, this matchup goes down to whether Tristana brings lethal tempo or hail or not. That's one of the big decisions. If we see lethal tempo on Tristana, she's planning on fighting more towards 4-5 range. If she brings Hail of Blades, it's more of a 1-2-3. And that's like the big decision between these mid laners. Zeri and Zyre are basically going to do the same thing. It'll be really entertaining to see what Kindred and Lilia do between each other.
I'm looking in the chat and I saw the why ban Jace no fun. I mean, the Jace was banned for good reason. Like that's some of from what I've seen in the stats, that's definitely one of Hardway's better champions. And momentarily, we are going to be getting into game.
Yeah, some technical difficulties on my part. Sorry for that. letting me select.
Make the display capture visible. And then go into game.
Yeah, it's just making
Almost.
it sharing the wrong thing. Oop.
Mm-mm-mm.
Sorry, everyone. It's giving me the league client, but not.
Ooh. And somewhere.
Here we go. So there should be another league window that appeared, and that should be the actual like game client.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be the
Under
Right.
EM, I think.
Well.
so you don't see I think like one of them would be named like LOL client or something like that. Like one's like
Yeah, here's
league
the.
client.
Oh, you might not be able to see it. Yeah, there's a league
No,
client.
we don't.
And then there's another. There's not another one that says league. So that's
And
good.
it's not giving you the in-game client.
Yeah.
It's not giving you the in-game client then. Jeez. All right.
Sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, there you are. You're in game now.
You can hear the game now.
Oh, I saw the mouse change, so I thought you were actually in game.
I was. But it's not displaying, so it's not part of the tutorial. Oh, this might be in scrap.
Do we want to send it to a pause?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Might be good to send it to a pause and come back.
Alright, sorry about that.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In game. Game still in progress.
Perfect.
There we
Okay.
go.
You should be able to hit play and you should be good to go.
Minions have spawned.
All right. If you need anything else, feel free to give me a call. I can try to walk you through something online.
Yep. Thank you for
All right.
help resolve the technical difficulties. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
No
sir.
problem. Have good games, everyone.
No, will do.
And
All right,
with
as the game
that,
starts, we could. Silas getting a ward on their blue buff. That will be key for the invades that we would probably get from Lilia Tristana.
and right here with that little bit of information now just left, I guess a blue wall was also set down by the Malphite, trying to make sure that if the invade does happen, at least the Kindred has that information later on to make a little use of.
It does look like we took the Halo Blades on Tristana. So we are looking for that early game presence.
And looking like some early aggression coming out from the Silas up on the top side as well. Saw a little engage from him, trying to drop a little damage. And as it goes back up, looks like both of them just shrugged that damage off.
What's important to note here is that we get a Cole on Zai. Clean engage from Silas.
Clean little engage and a lot of damage coming in from the Silas at level 2 just spike. He was able to drop down a lot of damage on top of the Malphite.
Both junglers completing their third camp, going to their fourth right now. Lilia slightly ahead of Kindred.
And a little damage dropped down by the Zaya onto the Janna. Not really going to be able to do too much really right now. Game starting off really slow in comparison to others, while the Silas is still trying to establish that dominance up in the top side.
Yeah, that turret shot might be a bad thing for the Stylus, knowing that Kindred probably is going to go there if he stays there too long.
And if they knew where the ward was, they can at least wait a little bit longer before they reveal themselves and start clearing off their blue camp and then make a round up to the top side and potentially gank. Do we know exactly who the Kendrick has marked first? Unless they haven't chosen their mark yet.
Most people choose their jungler first, but looks like Lilia's going to be the first touch for Skittle Crab, chilling around the top lane right now.
Probably trying to just scope out if the Kindred has made any runs, especially considering that that's a mark for the Kindred to spawn up on the top side. So this is looking like we might actually get our first fight. And Akali, I guess, is never mind, not rotating up.
Getting our mouth. First blood for
And
Silas.
Malphite being, yep, first blood for Silas, with Malphite being on the wrong side of the towers for himself. And right now, looking like nothing else is gonna happen there. So blue side loses the scuttle and the first blood potential. Already looking a little bit behind for H2O. And as we see more go on in this game, like this is what did we like expect to be the win conditions for each of these teams. If you can maybe give us a little bit more on that, Karma, while the fighting's not going on and everything's just kind of like slowed down here. What's looking like that's going to be the major win conditions, especially for H2O to overcome this, especially since the Silence doesn't have any fear at all.
Yeah, it looks like currently, as long as we don't lose these early game objectives, clean kill coming from the Malphite, not even afraid.
Immediate flash gone, and I thought that would be enough, but not at all. That tower shot just didn't. He only took one shot. It's not gonna ramp up that much damage that early anymore, right?
Yeah, as it was. But yeah, if red team gets decided to do this dragon super early, it's gonna start the snowball effect of this Tristana Lilia. But if it doesn't happen, blue side is clearly gonna be the lead for Herald. So it might end up being a big swap if this delays to 8 minutes.
Shout out to Kayla and 26 for subscribing with their Prime. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you. Into your words there, Karma. So currently, like, really this bot side. So you're really saying here that they're probably red team's looking forward to focus towards that bot side of the map more than what we had talked about right before the actual draft and chat being or draft and the actual before the game started, being that condition of the top side, mid, and jungle all working together to go into the advantage. Like they're kind of going against that, what the meta is kind of saying for right now.
Well, the meta is definitely dragon stacking / heralds. You normally select one or the other. Most teams rarely get both. But as we go more into the late game, Malzahar will be more apparent because of his ult. That's the only reason why dragons are more favorable for blue side right now. It's just because they're up.
And right now we're seeing the first level 6s being hit from both top and mid right now, and the Lilia having a slight advantage over the Kindred in level.
Yep, up a substantial amount in camps.
Oh, most definitely. The Kindred's not being able to keep up, and I'm not even sure if the Kindred actually has a mark as of yet. So even if they have just one, that's remarkably slower for Kindred at this point in the game, which is a point. And real quick, we're having a small gank coming in from Ubot, and it doesn't look like anything's going to end up happening over here on the side of Big Wheel. Yes, they're just going to try to get some of the pressure off, try to force this Malphite to back off, and maybe push more to the tower. But Kindred's up here for the counter gank. And here comes the Lilia ultimate. Ultimate stolen from the Malphite, and Avius going in, slaying Sodium Chloride once again. Kindred having to flash out to get away out of safety, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Double kill going over to the Silas.
Lean, I would have for if I was playing Kindred there, I think it's a very obvious decision to go for the mark instead of going for that dive
Flash
and just give away
coming out from the Malzahar, just the damage getting the shutdown over to the side of Akali. Good roam to get that cleanup kill.
Ooh, as we do get 2 platings mid.
Ooh, that might not be something you wanted to give up to the Tristana of all champions. 2 full solo plates. Already up some farm as well.
I was already making a weird decision not to back here. I think it would have been a much better idea to back and then walk back to lane with the advantage. But currently,
I guess he thought it was more important to protect his lane, like he's not to push more. And we have a gank coming in from the Lilia, and the ultimate coming out. Feathers pulled. Is it gonna be enough? The other enemy jungler actually ends up showing up from blue side as no kills are being traded off. Triple kill going over to the Zeri. Completely unexpected there. As soon as the Kindred showed up, everybody got deleted.
Yep, as we clean up and we go towards that dragon that we were talking about. Clean execution by red side here.
And very, very, very different than the other games. But right now, hold on, because I think the Silas is looking like he wants to fight this. He also wants to fight the Malphite once again. And just to say, compared to yesterday's games, this is definitely going significantly more accelerated than the other ones, because for some reason they're already up 3k gold, and I don't think the Big Wheel is going to want to give up these leads. Drake secured Big Wheel, and right now Avius is just able to really establish the fact that they are the better top laner currently in this game.
Oh, we look for a clean engage on mid lane.
And look at that, the exhaust on top of the Malzahar with the
Flash R from the
bomb
Tristana.
being able to get on top of him, not going to be able to get away, reset, and immediately hard-way securing that kill on the Kali.
And it looks like it'll be a swift move once we get Tristana Janna resets into a swift barrel pick.
And I like the confidence right now of Zeri just being able to be left alone in lane as the Janna can just roam and be able to help make plays elsewhere. Usually you expect that more from like maybe the Taric or like the tankier champions generally trying to make some type of engage, but the way this Enchanter is moving, it's definitely going to lead to some there's definitely going to lead to being a what's it called, a reason for the victory to have happened.
Yeah, it looks like Blue Side is making a really bad mistake with Carrick not being able to roam as much, even though we have Xayah in the bot lane.
And the flash having to be used here by the Malphite to get away from the combo. If that had landed, that probably would have been a dead Malphite instead of the Malphite just being alive barely in the tower. TP now being used by this Malphite. Unfortunately, that's going to be a nice little cooldown real quick. Even though it's still a couple minutes before the Unleash, so probably the best time to use it is now.
Clean steal by the Lilia on Scuttlecraft. Nice
Quick
coming
steal,
out.
and now it's going to end the death right now. And that invulnerability is not going to be enough for you. TJ getting slain by Hardway. Another kill
As
going
they
on
move
to
swiftly.
Tristana and double
Arrow.
buffs.
It looks
yeah,
like we went for static shift build on Tristana. Very surprising. This is
Even with the nerfs, Shiv is still such a strong item.
Yo, we have double Shiv.
Oh, yep. Because Zeri Tristana, honestly, these two champions, it's going to be so hard to navigate a fight if these two champions are ramping up. 3-0 Zeri, 2-0 Tristana. Like, what are you going to do once these two champions, like, basically have their items and have their way with how they want to play the game?
Yeah, when you're in these team fights and Tristana is the early game damage while Zeri's ramping up for lethal tempo, it's going to be really difficult for people like Malphite to stay in a fight for very long.
Especially considering he has only one button to go, and right now he's having a hard time even trying to deal with these two under the tower. That's not going to be enough to get that tower. But
Zeri's getting some solo plates.
So you got both the ADCs that have gotten solo plates. Plates being given over to this topside silence that's already ahead as it is. What is the comeback factor currently for the side of H2O?
It's most likely it's going to be some type of play with Malzahar where Malzahar ults a target and everybody kind of shows up from the shadows and gains one of these shutdowns like Zeri or Tristana here. And I think
was sad that the directing camera decided to go away from that fight because it definitely showed the ultimate being stolen from the Malphite and Avius engaging on top of Mr. Sodium Chloride. But it looks like that didn't want to really show it because I guess as it shows, it didn't lead to a death or anything. Just a couple things used, no sums really expelled. So it's just going to go back to the Malphite backing and going back up the top lane once again.
Yeah, I would really like to see this Malzahar try and make like some movements around the map. It looks like he's very content with staying even, and this is not going to be one of those games where staying even is going to win you this game.
Especially where Malzahar is a champion, as you mentioned. You literally said this. You can't allow the Malzahar to fall behind. Well, right now, with the place that's been given up, already the Tristana is moving forward with farm, the kills. The Malzahar is starting to fall behind this Tristana currently. It's about a 600 gold difference, but then an overall team diff of 5k. This is not going to end up looking well unless something happens, like a miracle pick from a Malzahar suppression or something like that. And right now, just what I was saying, Castle Curse disengaged, coming in from the Maelstrom with the ultimate.
Huge
now
Lily
coming
R.
down hard and Hardway going on a killing spree, being just enough able to get out. Big ultimate coming out from the Zeri as this fight continues, and Big Wheel is showing their dominance, showing why they're the number 2 team here. And unfortunately, Lilia had to die during DeAndre's plus probably the space age. But this is definitely going to be that Drake being secured to the side of Big Wheel, and H2O unfortunately losing 4 for the side of 1.
Yeah, it looks like as the early game team, as the late game team was able to fall behind super significantly here, while Zeri is just going to kill crazily. It seems like a pretty over at this point. Although you can still get a Malzahar pick, we can't lack on the Malzahar pick being available here.
The Malzahar pick almost worked in that last fight if it wasn't for the fact that Janna was there and ready with the ultimate. And
yeah.
it does, yes, like they do have the potential to execute, but they're just so, it feels like there's just so much counterplay on the side of Big Wheel from what exactly that H2O wants to do with their comp.
Yeah. As we go deeper into this game, I feel very, I wouldn't say underwhelmed, but this red side lane selection is kind of weird. I feel like Zeri at this point should be mid lane, and Tristana should be going towards bot lane because of her lane pressure and her 1v1. But as we have it, Tristana is staying mid lane and Zeri is the one that is splitting.
I think right now what Big Wheel is saying to themselves is that currently the pressure that we're exerting on their team, it's working for us. We know that we have this massive advantage. Let's just keep doing what we're doing until it doesn't necessarily work. And right now I think that's going to be approved because 4 people are jumping on top of Avius and Akali being able to get that kill off of themselves on the Malzahar. And right now they might be able to trade something in the mid lane. I don't think he's going to be able to get away from this hard way. Being able to not give away, trading kills, shutdown going over to the person who probably needed it the most, Modlock on his Xayah. And they're going to try to chase down this Janna, but Janna's going to be able to get away just barely. I thought they might have actually, I thought honestly Hardway was going to live from that tower shot. I didn't think it would be enough.
Oh, it looks like Zeri might get caught here too. Clean escape by Zeri. Nice
Can
holding
we
on the
see
E.
if the Zeri's able to get? Yep, Zeri's getting out right there.
Yeah, that's literally that whole breakdown of kills right there is literally the only reason why Tristana should be bot and Zeri should be mid. That whole like exchange is like very clear as like Zeri has mobility from walls and Tristana has like this overall mobility in like big spaces. And as you're pushing bot lane, big spaces are very apparent. And I think it's very necessary if Tristana should move to bot lane here.
And I think like maybe they're just trying to get Hardway to secure this mid tower first, utilize the siege of Tristana to help with that, and then, or maybe they're actually gonna listen and make their move and go send Tristana down towards bot side while keeping Avius up top with Silas. Guess they're not gonna really they're not really looking to team fight anything right now. With the only next big objective being another Rift Herald. The next fight will happen.
For the most part, most of the people on red side right now, jungle, mid, and ADC are really close to their second item. And I'd assume they're looking to fight on those second items.
They're just trying, yeah, because right now H2O does not want to fight at an item disadvantage. They don't want to fight on a summoner disadvantage. They don't want to put themselves in any more of a disadvantage than they already are, especially when you're looking, as you see, Tristana's now bot side, she's pushing it down, and she's already at their in-hit turret. So now they have to force somebody to go down bot to match her, while also being able to secure this Rift Herald.
That forces out the TP from Malzahar, and that's a big deal knowing that like there's a TP for Silas and nobody else has TP in this game right now.
So they have the potential as long as they get vision down. If they have more game knowledge overall macro knowledge of the map, what's going on, then they like the Silas flank. Could be something big, especially depending on whatever ultimate he might have at that time.
does look like we're going to transition into more of a warding pattern for Dragon here. Although our Janna does not have wards. Looks like we might be clearing out vision. As we glow for a Dragon team.
And well, I want to say right now, that's probably, like you said, the meta right now is a lot of Dragon stacking or picking 1-2 stack. It's very rare that a team gets both. And I think they feel it be worth it to just go ahead and just keep stacking with these Dragons, especially considering Baron is coming up in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's very surprising because this is one of the games where, I mean, Lilia got both Heralds, Lilia got 3 Dragons. It's very apparent that like Red side had the early game advantage from the get-go.
And right now we're looking to see if oh nope, they're not going to do anything. Again, Tristana's just doing her thing, just being able to push things out, and the ultimate coming out from Malzahar, being able to put so much damage pincered in. Immediately, Akali basically getting a solo kill there. But the Red Tail is going to get dropped in mid. They're finally going to be able to do something about this. Janna letting a massive tornado turret ultimately going to be dropped down in mid lane. The turret going to be destroyed by the Rift Herald as everything goes in. Zeri ultimate on the clock, and everybody is getting zapped. And unfortunately, that's going to be enough electricity from her. And finally, a big fight being found from the side of H2O to allow themselves at least some type of hope into this game.
Ooh, fail flash from Silas.
Yeah, he's gonna have to try to get out of here. I don't think Malzahar's gonna have the ability to catch him. He's not running Ghost. Those team fights very for trying to siege turrets. It's definitely not a game where you want to siege turrets for red team. You kind of want to like split push and catch them off guard and take turrets that way. Then have like a full on like turret like dive. Right, like a full-on just straight siege into it. Everybody know, yeah, because their comp I wouldn't really consider like a full-on dive comp in any sense. If anything, they're an anti-dive comp.
Yeah, and I would say it's the same thing for H2O. H2O is a very anti-dive. Like, can't really get on anybody on that team except for Malzahar, and Malzahar has Kindred R and Taric R to make sure he lives.
And then if you do decide to engage fully, all of a sudden you have a Malphite just full on engaging into your engage, or he starts the full engage. There's a lot of different conditions for the side of H2O right now, and they were able to at least execute on one of those conditions right there.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see how they try to prepare for this Baron for both sides. Or they might just decide to go for the 4th Dragon, as it would be a much safer play for Big Wheel. Although I think H2O might want to take the risk knowing that they just won a huge fight.
And at least also try to stop the soul stack, the actual soul point as well, while Silas is actually jumping on with the Malzahar ultimate. Malzahar ultimate used here. I don't think it's going to be enough because the Malzahar is going to return fire right back. But Akali, unfortunately, being slain down, but the minions being the real MVP, making that overall fight a trade instead.
And that's super worth for Malzahar here, knowing that Silas is the big.
Wait, we got a whole fight going on right now. The record camera's not able to jump on top of it, and it's looking like the Lilia is actually going to be taken down by TJ. Look at this turnaround that's coming out from the side of H2O now. All of a sudden, that lead that was there before, I think the max was about 8K. Now it's down to about 6.
Yeah, that's the roundabout, I think. I'm not sure if it hit that K mark, but right around 8 or 9.
And now that they see that they won that fight, they notice the Lilia's down. They're gonna actually try to go for this Baron. Is that what it's looking like?
This Baron looks kind of bad.
Especially with the fact that you got Silas, if you come in here, Silas taking the Malphite going in a big Malphite ultimate. And all of a sudden, just like you said, this Baron wasn't bad for them. Tark ultimate comes down our way, being able to get the kill on to Akali, but Akali now going down, and Silas being able to jump on, and thank you for the leash. Now this Baron is ours.
And it looks like that might also be Soul Point. That also might be Soul.
Rotate. Yeah, because now they just have to actually, just rotate right over to the Soul. Wow, that one Baron play just led to a massive landslide.
Yeah, it's one of those fundamentals of blue. You have to back with the gold that you just got if you want to stay on top.
They just barely managed to stop. Like, you know, like when something starts to snowball out of control and it's like, oh, we actually managed to stop this from completely going like out of like, it's just like that it's just at the edge of the cliff and it's like, all right, as long as this doesn't like move, we're good. That Baron play was the snowball officially going over the cliff, because now you see that you've given up Baron, given up the soul. Like, what else could you possibly, like, there's only now at this point the game to give up. So there's so, I don't know how much more they can do to come back.
At this point, it's Big Wheel's game to lose. It's no longer H2O's game to win. It's definitely Big Wheel's game to lose.
10.2k down at the current moment. There's just so much to there's a lot of stuff to like get on the other side, like, you know, objective bounties. There's also still like a couple shutdowns and things to get from the side of Big Wheel at this current moment. But as you said, it's their game to lose. If they're gonna do anything, they would have to literally throw into them.
Yeah, it seems like the only way to really come back from this game as blue side is going to be from Elder.
And that's if they can actually fight and win for the Elder.
I would say it's more upon of a coin flip of Kindred jumping into 5 people, pressing R and then outsmiting.
So TJ versus Evbot, I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Who do you think is gonna be the better smiter at that point? Then that's really what it comes down to.
From looking at stats and everything, it looks like Evbot is in a small lead against TJ. But I wouldn't put it past TJ to look at this play and get it on. As we get a Malphite in the mid lane.
Malphite in mid lane, jumping in big shutdown going on to the Zeri. All these little shutdowns, all these little picks that they need right here is going to be absolutely necessary. But it looks like Harwood's going to trade one back onto the target, jump right out once again. Kendrick ultimately coming down, trying to at least stall for a little bit of time as the Featherstorm comes out, pulled in, and not going to be enough because red side is going to be able to wipe the side of H2O off the map. 4 for 1.
Hard way, super clean. Love the jumps, love the movements. The issue with Big Wheel's team is like you kill Zeri and it's like, well, you still have Tristana.
You just
still a front to back to have.
Like, how do you deal with 2 threats at the same time unless you can split the focus, which that doesn't work unless you have one like, you know, you understand.
The issue is that like you have to. There's 3 focuses here. You have to kill Silas, you have to kill Zeri, and you have to kill Tristana. Most people lead towards, I'm going to try and kill Zeri here, and then hopefully Silas dies from the fact that Zeri died. But then you're still left with Tristana doing clean plays like that.
Dropping bombs, jumping in, like, no. I love watching Harwood play this Tristana. Just no fear whatsoever in his eyes. He sees the potential for a kill. He says, you know what, I'm just gonna take it anyway. And once again, he's doing it here. I don't think he's gonna chase into, you know, 3 people, you know, but definitely dished out a lot of damage on the Kindred.
Yeah, back to the roots. It's an easy game of ADC if there's 2 of them.
And honestly, like, the Lilia being the only source of AP, or not the only source, but I feel like there's not
major
like a
source.
giant, like, right, like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's like an absolute like true burst like source of it. It's not like a
you have Silas for burst, but that's pretty much it. But you're not gonna burst something like Malphite or Malzahar because of the shields and stuff. But for someone like Xayah, it's gonna be dangerous to play around the Silas.
And that's it. But that's only if, you know, she's quick to react on that R button.
Mm-hmm.
The little emote there from the Zeri.
As we're going for the 1-3-1 here, It'll be big. I assume it's gonna be a 4v5 here.
As the Malphite just ult in there, Malphite literally barely whipped off his ultimate, so now the ultimate for the target kind of end up coming
Huge
down.
Lilia.
Huge Lilia landed. Big ultimate.
Big Malphite.
Silence stolen from the Malphite. And that's just gonna be a complete
Yeah, that's just game.
perfect ace.
That's game right there.
End of the
Have
game
minions
right
bot lane.
Oh my, that was insane of a fight. And that, I wish we could get an instant replay. I literally witnessed that Malphite barely whipped the ultimate right at the end there. Like, I don't think it hit a single person, but he was just right in front of everybody.
Oh, we might get it. Oh, we get it.
Go back just a little bit more.
Yeah, just a little bit more. Right at the start of
please.
this, where we get to see this positioning of Silas. So Silas is going from the back here. He's going for that flank that you were talking about before. He gets to push out this wave. And then he's like, okay, I can start to move towards this fight that we're looking at. Because they're going to try and look for a fight as we're sending Tristana and Silas bot lane. They're top lane and bot lane.
So then, John
We
goes
get to see
here,
this.
lands that. Yep. Literally does not land on anyone.
And then we get this clean Lilia R straight
As
into
soon
this
as
Malphite.
Boom. That's 2 clean stolen Malphite ultimates, like guaranteed, that have been very influential in this game that we have seen. That was insane.
Yeah. Clean game from Big Wheels.
They're
As
sho-
to
again,
expect
they're
from
showing-
the second place team.
Again, the only confirmed loss here in this current league is to the #1 team in the league. So right now they got to really establish the fact that they're #2, and that's going game 1 over to the side of Big Wheel. That. Oh my god, that ending fight.
I
I'm
know.
so-
Such a clean game from Big Wheels.
like, they gave kills here and there, but whew,
Yeah. The team fights as a whole really nice to see.
I'm saying if you're gonna pick something with some influential ultimates like that, please ban Silas.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't risk playing into like your own ultimate. That's just like what you don't know which one you're accounting for. The Zeri was okay. I want to see more laser hands.
It would be nice to see it, but the issue is that like in that game specifically, Zeri's job isn't to 1v9. It's more like to draw a little bit of pressure while Silas and Tristana kind of do their thing. Because the issue is of Zeri is really heavily countered by Malzahar, Malphite, Kindred. Because of her
And-
lack of HP and a lack of movement for the most part.
And I think
Until the-
H2O is listening because that Silas is immediately on the ban list.
Yeah, it looks clean. As we get an H2O Tristana mid lane. They took it. I mean, it's big to see.
I'm actually very curious about how the Samara is gonna play. That's another one of those champions where it's like if you let her get straight to the late game, she'll completely 1v9.
Yeah, I think the issue here is if we get a red cane, which I'm expecting, to me Nautilus, red cane, and then Orin, there's gonna be a lot of hard CC that Samir can't W. It'll be really hard for Samir to win. But as I said, I mean, Zeri had the same problem last game and Tristana pulled through. So we'll see if it happens again.
Oh boy, I see a Nautilus on the screen. If anyone watched yesterday, the Nautilus is got kind of a bit of a reputation right
Never
now.
look back.
Just he goes where he pleases, and he just does whatever he just does whatever he wants on the screen. And the hooks, I'm very curious to see if like this Nautilus is gonna be on top today. Because that's just gonna be insane to see that Zeri doesn't have the same type of peel and protection of like the Janna this time around.
Yeah, talking about that, what do you think of the Samira Braum bot lane versus Zeri Nautilus?
the the what do you mean? Like the absolute securing of like CC at that point? It's gonna be
Yeah,
it's the
it'll be
new
weird.
Braum Lucian kind of in a way.
Yeah, I'm quite confused for how, because the way how you're gonna combo it with Samira. You know what I mean? Because I think Q doesn't count as an auto attack.
It does not. So you just need her to like
Auto
really
attack 3
stack on the
times.
damage. Yeah. I mean,
Or
you might be able to get an auto off as Braum yourself, so it might only need 2 autos from her.
you know, it could potentially be Braum Tristana bot lane with Samira mid lane versus Brand. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but that looks to be what I think it is.
That would be.
That makes more sense.
I'm up for it. Listen, I'm all for the 80 carries in the mid lane. It's a lot of fun. You know, Kaisa mid's been a thing for a little bit now, so I don't see anything wrong with it. Listen, we got Tristana mid here. We can have Samira mid. It can work. Someone will find a way to make it work.
We make it deal. We make it work. As we are getting Tristana mid lane and Samira ADC, I got people's hopes up for nothing.
Man, and they also got TJ on the Bel'Veth, so he decided to go one of his carry picks that he doesn't normally pick on here, but it definitely is gonna. I think it's gonna show why they're putting TJ on a carry this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Braum pick makes sense as a whole for team fights as a big thing, but the issue is like if you're not playing for the Samira early game, what are you really playing for?
That's what I was gonna say. So like, what is the goal of the particular of because each of the comps look like you can clearly define what the goal is, but like for H2O, I'm just like, what exactly is your comp expected to accomplish in the early, mid, and in late games? Because right now I don't know what your early game plan is generally, or what your late game might end up, or what your mid game might end up being either. It seems a little bit more defined, at least on the side of Big Wheel.
Yeah, it looks like for the most part we're looking for like surviving early game, maybe giving like a dragon and getting the other, like trading. And then like these mid game fights are gonna be super big with Samira Tristana Bel'Veth like insta procking Braum passive.
See, that's what I'm worried when you have like these types of just like one particular like conditions that a comp can work with
Mm-hmm.
to make something like work. That's why I might have to go on the side of Big Wheel for this particular game, only because it's like there's so much that can like if you look
Yeah,
like they even have like wombo, like complete wombo combo with their ultimates between Bran, Ornn, Nautilus, just like all that in one combo alone is just gonna end up being a decimation in team fights. So we already know like the
yeah.
team fighting goal is established with Big Wheel. Like it's just so hard to figure out exactly what's gonna be going on with H2O.
Yeah, it'll also be nice to see what they decide to R with for Mordekaiser. Because it looks like you can only kind of R Brand here. Because like Zeri is kind of hard to get on. You're not really gonna kill Ornn or Kane. And Nautilus is kind of like a weird thing to R. Looks like Brand is gonna be like a very simple idea. It's just like when you erase Brand, what are you losing exactly? You're losing your AP burst. So we assume that like Braum and Bel'Veth are gonna build like armor, and then we're gonna ult Brand and hope that we win the team fight because they're all AD.
Even then, that's not really losing too much, especially with the way like Brand works now, where he can actually combat a little bit more against someone else for himself, as long as Harway has the mechanics to dodge certain
Mhm.
things, and
As he
you
showed
know
in the last game.
those Tristana mechanics were absolutely insane. I'm glad that H2O was smart not to give it back to him, because that would have just been another, like, you don't want to give him the heat check, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be clean to see how how Akali's Tristana compares to Hardways. So we'll see how it pans out. Noticing that we do have Ghost on Samira, not Cleanse.
Ooh, okay. That's I think that's gonna be slightly problematic.
Yeah,
Even
knowing
with
that
the
they have Red Cane, Ornn, and not.
it's like something I've learned recently playing Sivir. It's like, yeah, you got Spell Shield, that's great. Until everything
Like, what
else
about
piles.
everything else? Yeah. It looks like we're gonna go from an invade for blue side.
Welcome to
I'm
Summoner's
actually
Rift.
very excited. I want some something crazy
Oh,
early to happen. Never
we're-
mind. Instead of
We're
an invade, it's
stacking.
gonna- But you're stacking
30
your own
seconds
jungle.
until
You think they're
minions
really gonna
spawn.
invade you? They don't have an invade type of team.
Damn. You know, we are invading though as top side for Bel'Veth Tristana getting a ward on their blue buff.
You know
So we
what?
did invade from red side, just the wrong side.
The side that should have invaded did not. They decided to play it safe, like as if it was gonna. I'm actually very surprised that they played it this safe. I don't think they
Yeah,
played the
I
five.
I feel like
four-man
you
stack
should
that.
have. I feel like it would have been great to go for the invade here, coming from Big Wheels, but
Yeah, Braum is
Yeah.
good in invades, but I'm saying like in comparison to like the two teams, I feel like if there was an invade to invade, it would have probably been more on the side of Big Wheels to win.
yeah, knowing that like Samira isn't really that early game powerhouse you have until like level 2, and like Zeri is like a lot stronger level 1. The big risk is like if like it's not Nautilus engaging first in an invade like that.
But with that said, I'm not sure if maybe blue side might suspect that a ward is already at the top there. So instead, he's just going to go for what's looking like a full red clear for the Kayn. And I guess actually just red straight to the blue side for the Bel'Veth.
It looks like
Red
they're doing a
Raptors.
five camp clear for Bel'Veth and a full clear for Kayn. Since the ward was placed a little bit early on the blue buff, it's not really going to detect Kayn, so it won't really be much of use.
They waited a little too long. They were probably afraid of a potential invade coming from them. So they were like, let's get this ward over here quick just to see if we see something. If not, get out.
Yeah.
Top lane is looking pretty even right now, at least in the HP department. And
Samira Braum
now-
getting prio here.
looks like it, except for Kayn coming up top, trying to help out his top laner. And looking like this is going to be the first gank of the game. And this is the first gank going to lead to the first kill. Flash coming out from the Mordecai.
We get a
Mordecai
flash
trying
Q.
to step away. First blood after a flash Q from the Kayn.
Clean plays by Kayn. You know Kayn is going to play for top side because he needs to get red Kayn here, so it's only melee targets. So you're at Bel'Veth, Mordekaiser, and Braum. That's the only reason why you should expect the Kayn gank for the Mordekaiser. We do get an invade from Bel'Veth, but we don't get anything out of it because he full cleared red side.
So wasted time over for TJ while the Kayn himself, I keep forgetting how to say the name, Ebot is able to actually get something more out of it. So just being that little bit up ahead, even though it's down by 2, and a clear hook engage going in, and not enough to actually dish down any more damage on the Braum, but just some, quick little, hey, just know I can land these hooks here.
We are looking for a gank from Bel'Veth here on the spot lane.
Bel'Veth's coming in to wrap around. They don't know it though, so they're just gonna try to engage onto the Samir, but that's not gonna be enough. Nautilus to get down for the ignite, and Modlock gonna be able to
We
secure
also
kill.
get
And
a
what we ended
solo
up-
kill.
We ended up missing it, unfortunately, but Akali being able to solo kill Harway on the brand, showing that they can also play the Tristana too.
Yeah, clean. Tristana is definitely one of those underrated mid laners that isn't really utilized that much. But if you come from an ADC background, it's a very, very swift transition from ADC to mid lane.
And I just want to point out real quick, shout out to the Ornn using the making themselves unstoppable not to get pulled in by the board. That would not have ended well probably for them. Oh,
As we
and
go-
as I was speaking, now he's deciding to actually just go ahead and fight it out. Don't think he has any other way. Never mind, he did the dash out. He still does have flash, so doesn't look like he's in too much danger.
Yeah, it looked to me specifically why you're going for a play like that is like you're trying to lower their HP because you're going to use TP. So you want to get an advantage out of the HP you have here. Oh,
As much
he
as
doesn't end
possible
up
in
being
another
the
fight. And I'm surprised that he's just sitting there, just hanging on as long as they possibly can up in the top lane. This Orange just needs to back, but they can't. And Tristana going ahead and using the playbook from Hardway, just
The
jumping
EQ
in, trying
clean.
to get much on there. And a hook landing directly onto Samira. Samira now using the W to go ahead and negate any other follow-up damage after that Q landed.
Looks like some fucking Orn gaming in the top lane. As we do get this, it looks like the start of Dragon. Yeah, we do end up getting the start of Dragon from Tristana Belveth.
Which that's going to be a really quick dragon take. I don't think they're going to be really too worried about taking this dragon, especially it's just a single infernal. If this was like something leading to infernal
Kane
soul,
is looking for a counter though.
Kane's around the area, but I don't know if Kane's going to want to jump into this. Never
Braum's
mind,
looking
Brandon's
for it.
still following down too. And the Horn ultimate coming down. Two different fights going on in A-Spot. Going ahead and security kill onto the Belveth is not going to be enough for them to live. As more kills are just being dropped, and out of nowhere, it's 4 for 1 on the
For
side
H2O.
of H2O.
Or no.
Oh no, other side.
You know. Jesus. Jesus.
This was me
For big
yesterday.
wheel.
I had to start getting
I know.
used to that.
No, tell me about it.
But see, at first, what I thought was gonna be just a quick give up turned into a big fight, a win, and the Drake being secured for the side of a big wheel. And
Yeah.
that's actually something to be surprised about. Because at first I thought it would just be something like it's just the first Drake. You don't have to really do anything, and instead they decided to just try to accelerate themselves. And right now that flash, jump on. I don't think Samir can get away from this unless they flash themselves. Braum jumping in, unbreakable use to try to stop him from getting any more damage down. And right now, of course, that was a really close call for the Samira there. And the ultimate being used by the Mordekaiser, trying to chase down this Warren here, trying to get a little bit more out of it, not being able to see much else, a couple autos, but the Kane is here to assist the top laner once again.
Kane is just everywhere
He
this
is
game.
literally just everywhere in this game. You took the words straight out of my mouth, because right now it's looking like a damn good game from that jungler. Oh man, they're loving him over there on the side of Big Wheel.
Talking about the KDA kill leader.
This is proven why, and I'm guessing Kane is probably a part of that repertoire, and the reason why I think everybody hates this champion because it feels like you can never get away from him. And oh no, what's going on? Never mind, we're back in, and look at that, going in on Belveth once again. This Kane is relentless. This Kane feels unstoppable, and he just wants to keep going in and asserting that dominance in the jungle. He's saying, this jungle is mine. No matter what side you are on, red or blue, it is mine.
And evidently it looks like right now he's super close to being able to transform into Rost here. Which is going to be super big if he gets like a 9 to 10 minute Rost. It'll be huge.
That's actually going to be very scary for the enemy team, as we have some slight technical glitches here, but we're getting back into the game. I'm very excited for this Rost to come out. It's been a while since I've seen like a Rost on Summoner's Rift. I primarily only see it ever in like ARAM or something, so this is going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see the head Rost doing big damage.
Big damage, the big knockups, just healing everything, doesn't die.
Talking about that, we're going for a chain. Oh, do get ganked up like that.
And it's just going to end in the flash. Ultimate used by the Kane to try to stick onto the Mordekaiser after they use the E to try to displace themselves. And it's looking like right now Belveth is going to try to do a counter gank over here, because I don't think Hardaway has any way of getting away from this. Only being able to use their own ultimate in return and just ending up losing their life anyway.
Yeah, what's surprising here is that Belveth isn't looking for Rift Herald, which is like really surprising. Like you'd expect that like. You go.
No, I was gonna say I was saying I'm actually surprised to see that too. You're mentioning it now because they're trying to play still. He's still playing more towards that bot side, but it's like, wouldn't this be the proper time for you to get into Rift Herald, especially considering now you're going up against a literal Rost.
940 Rost. He is literally giga huge.
940
Next.
Ross, 2K gold lead. Oh boy.
Looks like a banger game. Although Samira is 1-0 and Tristan is 3-1. The issue here is that both have very few CS when it comes to having CS at 10 minutes.
Yeah, 41 and what, 80? 41 and 81. Well, okay, the 81 and 87 is a little bit
Yeah.
more respective in the bot lane. That
Yes,
40
that's true.
right now is definitely not.
Yeah.
But that's probably attributed to the harass that's been dropped in this brand. Like E
Let's
being
get
dropped
another
every time you try to go up. We have another Mordekaiser going down on this particular top side. I'm not sure how much else is going to be. The Ornn is starting to get a little bit tankier, so they can actually fight back against this Mordekaiser. The ult being dropped down now, but a whole lot of damage coming out in a bot lane fight. Also, commence down here. Ultimate used by the Braum. Ultimate used by the Zeri. Zeri just going ahead and zapping everything from behind. Ultimate cut dropping down from the Samir. Samir being able to get the kill onto the Nautilus, but they're going down chasing their double kill over to Samira, and then
Nice turnaround.
Kill for themselves. Looking like this game's definitely turning out to be a lot more even now.
Oh.
Artemis trying to be able to fight this and flashing in and out, and not going to be enough to be able to kill the Mordekaisers. They really want to try to kill one another, but I don't think the Ornn wants to try to fight this right now. So much going on all over the map. It was entirely insane, and once again the game is within a 600 gold difference.
Yeah. Straight pullback from H2O.
They're really clutching for that game 3 here. They don't want to let themselves fall. They don't want to show that this new roster didn't have what it takes to try to get them over the hump to overtake this next team. And right now, Big Bill is trying to show why they want to stick to their slot, because once again, he fought all over the map. And once again, we're seeing Velvet not focusing on that Risto. Instead of saying, you know what, we know that the game's up top, let's go ahead and do this Drake. Actually get it very quickly.
Yep, let's see if they try to respond to this Kane Herald, or will they just give it? Looks like they're gonna trend more towards the giving.
I think right now
Ooh.
they don't want to risk trying to push any more fights, especially when, even though the Kane was shut down, still a 5-2 Rost Kane at the current moment. So they're just gonna they're probably just gonna allow them to take this Rift Herald.
Yes. Surprising of that, Belveth is the first one to have item. She already has Kraken Slayer, and Samir already has Gale. Well, the other team does not have either. It's the only reason why I was thinking you would fight for the Rift Herald.
You have that slight item advantage, so you should be able to, but I guess maybe TJ doesn't realize like the advantage that they currently have, but Ross is getting caught in between two, the Mordekaiser and the Velvet getting taken into the Death Realm. I think I might have caught the wrong person, because right now Zeri's being power dive by the enemy side, going on a rampage
for one.
godlog, while Fluffy is actually able to still get a kill onto Lethal. But right now, unfortunately, Dragon is also not giving them sort of core. I mean, he's going to be taken down, or also being able to drop down two. TJ being able to live a little bit longer, and no longer either for the Tristana, because double kill going over to Kane, while the
Sadly.
other else able to drop the jungler.
Sadly, the Tristana W'd in front of the Belveth with Nodar on her. It would cause both of them to be caught.
You know, it's funny because like I was concerned. I thought H2O might have something, but they were thinking like they got the Tristana, they got the Samira. We can definitely mimic something from the last game that Big Bill did, where they had the double ADCs. But that double ADC doesn't really work when you don't have the exact same protection that those double ADCs also had in the last game.
Especially when you're fighting against triple tanks.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
They
Like,
did not
you
have
can-
triple tanks from last game.
If anything, they obviously have more peel on the side of Big Will, it feels, to protect those two general carries of the Zeri and the Brand. Like, even when Brand gets caught out, he's still doing something that dishes out damage and keeps them at least on top of some of these fights.
What's your opinion on the first item, Rylai's, on the Brand?
You know, I've spectated a couple games of Hardways, and I think I've noticed, like, just in general also, like, a lot of people feel that utility is absolutely necessary for themselves to get damage out. So I feel like the Rylai's utility, being able to slow, keep your yourself on top of people, especially when they're trying to get away from you. And with Bran, how his ult interacts with himself, where it bounces off of him now, I think it's actually a really good first item. I still will always be impartial to the Liandry's just because of that sheer damage and cooldown reduction that you also get from it. And then, of course, the Mythic passive, which would probably synergize better with the Rylai's. But for what it is, I definitely can't fault it, especially if you're going to try to look for more of the team fight aspect versus just trying to solo get as much damage down aspect.
Yeah, looking at his build, I am concerned on whether he's gonna third item Leandris or second. Because he already has home guards.
I'm saying the home guards, maybe he's just allowing you to stack up the Seeker's passive, because again, it's up against the Tristana, so that little extra armor might actually help. So he might be just trying to stack it up. Valve also TK to be able to do something, but unfortunately it's just gonna be also the both supports dropping, but this Samira just dishing out the damage and absolutely insane.
The movement speed from Ghost on Samira is actually so effective here. I didn't really understand how you could utilize it with using Ghost and then arm because of how fast you are. They can't run away.
And she just literally abysmally, we watched the series health bar just drop to nothing. And I guess they're just gonna go ahead, the Samira's content with backing, allowing Mordekaiser to just go ahead and just dish up the damage onto himself. But I can't discount the fact that Big Will is still trying to make something happen while trying to push down this mid lane tower.
Oh, 4-man W.
Oh boy, that's gonna be big, and that ultimate coming out from the brand is gonna be a lot of damage. That could at least be one, right? I don't think so. Never mind. Tupac going on a rampage, being able to take out. Big knockup coming out of the Kayn. This Kayn just not being able to die. Shut down on the Braum from Kayn. TJ having to dash over the wall to get away. And it's looking like that was a 2-for-1. And right now, H2O showing that they still got a lot of fight.
Yeah, it's very surprising to see how we ended up getting this super big lead on Kayn. It was slowly given away to Tristana's Samira here. It looks like they're going to be huge problems now.
It looks like Blue Side right now is just saying that since we know we have the advantage, let's just go ahead and secure this break for ourselves. There's not much else they can really do. Their jungler is basically nowhere to be found. We have a way of taking it fairly quickly while our junglers on the way to come here and just secure it with a smite, making sure that they can't possibly do anything with themselves.
Very free dragon when you know Tristana is top lane and Samira's off the map. We are going for the Leandris on brand second item. Thank God.
There we go. That's all we needed. All right, so I understand what they were doing for that. That like to stack up this passive, because I do understand like once you start to get later into the game and you're not like nearly as focused on farming, it is harder to stack up that secret and really get to maximize your passive. So right now I can see why he wanted to wait to make sure he got that, and now that another fight is broken out. Zeri using the ultimate as Kayn comes in, you just can't kill him. Lethal going down to the Kayn as Kayn is going ahead and dashing around and shut down for the Zeri going on. Double kill to the Zeri right now, and they thought it was
the peel is just insane.
Kill. I can't believe what is going on here. The Zeri is now officially online. It's, once they got that static shift, yeah, that was all they needed to unlock themselves.
Yeah, surprisingly, Akali going from a different build than Hardways did in the first game, going for just straight Gale Force.
Now we got the static and the Vori. My next big question, and this is something, I mean, like wholeheartedly, H2O being down about 7k gold. Do you think they have the potential? Again, they do have some of the champions that could potentially bring this back, but with an 0-3 Mordekaiser, you know, the 2-3 Bel'Veth, are they showing signs that they actually can bring this back against like this behemoth of that is the Zeri, this Ornn, and definitely what this Kayn is currently?
sadly, it's not 03 Mordekaiser, it's 05 Mordekaiser. But as we look into it, the way H2O can come back into this game is that swift combo of Braum into Tristana one shot from Samira. If they're able to both stack on a target, you most likely can one shot them no matter who they are except Ornn.
Oh man, so they want to see, and that's what I don't like to see.
It's like
right
that
now,
Malzahar problem that they had last game, where like Malzahar can like kill somebody, but it's only one person.
and see, that's what I'm concerned here about, because it's like you have to play into what Big Wheel wants. Like, they want that team fight condition. Like, and if you guys have to play into a team fight in order to try to get something, you're playing right into their hand. You jump on one of them. The whole point is that their team is just trying to be around there the whole time. Like, so now they're gonna just end up splitting the team all over the place. Riptail beats some down in the bot lane, so they're gonna force them to go down there, while Zeri's being able to hold down mid lane on their own. Red turret now also being destroyed on that bot side, while they're
Velvet dying.
little objective bounty, but that's not gonna be enough. There's no way. The jump is already used. That one bomb, not enough to warrant them chasing down anything.
Mordekaiser
They can
also
definitely
falling.
stop some Vex.
It's surprising how you don't just do this clean rotate into Baroness Blue. It kind of
They
makes
definitely
sense
could
here.
at this point. They're pushing them into their
Well,
own
two
base.
down right
Like,
now, and one of them's Veldev. So you like could, for sure. It's fine that they didn't want to take the risk as H2O did last game, where they threw it away because of the Baron call. But that one looked way more certain than the last one.
Like, there was actual potential for that Baron call to actually lead to an actual objective secured and accelerate this game. Additionally, because now a big hook being landed onto the Braum. Braum ultimate coming down, but barely missing the Zeri. Zeri having the ultimate. Zap going hard. Botlab able to get a kill, but unfortunately, it's only going to be the one onto Hardway.
And that is where they go to Baron.
And this is where you secure that Baron. When you only trade 1 for 3 of them, you're just able to do this. And that's what I would look like. This is exactly what I was looking for. Like, when you have guys jumping on top of Hardway, like, let me just drop my whole combo. You can kill me. I'm still useful here. So jumping onto the one person on the team that's able to still significantly useful after death, converting, take damage, and ultimate that can be used afterwards, and you're bunched up like that, they just, again, you're playing into what they want. They need a team fight to win, and you're just jumping right into them, giving them a team fight. And because of that, now you have a full 5-team Baron.
It's just sad how this team comp ended up working out for H2O, because it's just like, if Kane and Zeri gets ahead, like, I don't know if I play this game. It just gets really hard from that point on. Your target has to be Kane, and you have to one-shot him from 100 to 0. And him having 3 items right now is not helping that.
It's not gonna help at all, because they're just sitting there and just basically slapping them with wallets. Like, hey, we got the gold, we have the items, can you fight us? No? Well, guess what? We're just gonna take everything on the map and name it as ours. And right now they're proving that, and they're trying to show them why they're slapping with their wallets again. Another fight being initiated, the Ornn being called that Ornn just missing out, but unfortunately it's gonna be a rampage for Fluffy
Getting
here.
dispelled by the Samira W.
Nice. That was a really good, well done, but unfortunately not enough to save the support's life.
Mm-hmm. Sadly.
You were a noble sacrifice for the cause, sir.
Yep. You died for our sins, God bless.
I understand that support means whoever in the chat, we salute you. I understand fully. We have to sometimes just die for the cause. It's just how it works. If you have the most deaths, just understand that you were doing your job correctly.
Dominating.
Yep.
And that's
More trying to join in the competition, seeing which one can get the most.
At this point, they might as well. We should be able to give the MVP for most deaths at the end of the game. That might be a fun little
Maybe
stat.
there's a leaderboard. There's a leaderboard for it.
Well, right now it's looking like some of these people are trying to prove that they can join that leaderboard because right now Big Wheel is just pushing in hard on this inhib. Honestly, they might just be able to end the game completely from this. Is this going to be a like a clean 2-0?
Yeah, it looks like a clean 2-0.
Looking like the second place
Damn,
team, proving why they're the second place team.
Show no bounds from the second place team.
As they try to go ahead and pad their KDAs just a little bit, the game's going to end. Nexus has been obliterated. Victory over to the side of Big Wheel. I'm not going to lie, I was hoping for a 3.
Yeah, it looks like at the beginning of that game, like right around 10 minutes, that it really could have been a 3. But the moment you start looking at these comps and being like, well, Kane and Zeri got fed, it got really out of hand for Samira Tristana to like engage.
And it's not to say that like it's not like those players like Tristana and Samira didn't do anything that game.
It's just
was
really
a better
hard to
comp.
do anything that game.
Yeah, like the comp, you just had to play into a comp that wanted you to play into them, and your comp was we jump in, we do things, and unfortunately, the doing things just didn't work better than their do things.
Unlucky.
Unlucky indeed, but that's unfortunately it had to be a 2-0. I was hoping for the 3 personally, but GG's to both teams. I'm glad that you guys got to play. I'm glad we got the cast. Karma, thank you for joining us today on the cast as well for your first time. I'm glad that we got to partner
I
with
know.
Blitz.
Glad to be here. What can I say?
And you guys should be hearing from us real soon. Once again, Blitz, do you want to do the final send off before we head off?
Yeah, no, great job, gentlemen. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the broadcast, and have a great night.
Don't forget to use your Prime sub, guys.
Peace out.